Hi, everyone. Oh, I could see so many of you writing your names and where you're coming from. It's beautiful. Oh, wow. We're about to start our final session for day two of the conference, From Barrier to Bridge, Exploiting Learners L1 to Teach Vocabulary with Mohamed Khalaf. Now, so many messages. Before we start, I'd like to introduce you to our speaker and tell you a bit about him. So many people are welcoming you in the chat box, Mohamed.
Thank you very much. Thank you, everybody.
So, Mohamed Ali Khalaf is a CELTA tutor and a teacher trainer. He started teaching English as a foreign language in 2008. 7 years later, he started his training career as a TEFL tutor. Then he was verified as a CELTA tutor by Cambridge Assessment English in March 2018. He was the CELTA Center Manager and the Recruitment Committee Coordinator at Future University in Egypt in 2018 and 2019. He founded the TEFLism College London in January 2019. Teacher training for Mohamed is not just a career, it is his passion. Mohamed, I hope you are excited or half as excited as so many people in our chat box.
I am. I am. Thank you very much, Nadia, for the lovely introduction. Thank you for the kind words. And thank you, British Council, MENA region, for putting this together, for the effort you're exerting in order to, group us, group the teachers who are passionate about improving themselves for, in such events, such useful events. Thank you very much. Okay. So today we have here is what we're going to cover. First, we're going to reevaluate the role of Arabic in English class in English teaching, in the English language classroom. Then we will connect the theory, how research supports L1 use as a cognitive scaffold. Finally, we will look at the practical classroom strategies, things you can do next week or tomorrow in your classes. And of course, we will finish with 10 to 15 minutes of your questions and reflections. But before we start, this session is not giving you the green light to use Arabic while teaching English, because I know we have so many reservations about that. So we're not here. We're not just starting to give you, let's say, the green light to do that, but it's just a permission in some certain cases, like some certain conditions. Okay. Okay. So before we start, I'd like to give you like a quick quiz. It's not just, it's not a quiz. However, it's something I want you to tell me honestly. How do you feel, in one word? How do you feel when a student in your class speaks Arabic, like in the chat box? How do you feel? One word. Depressed, May. Dina says frustrated, mad. Aula, relieved. How? Okay, that's a bit different. Upset, anxious, disappointed, uncomfortable, disturbing. It is a bit disturbing to so many teachers. I used to get disturbed and somehow annoyed and kept thinking how to prevent that. However, today we're going to dive in how to use it as a tool, not as a source of frustration or as a barrier. Okay, so it's going to be a bridge. Again, I'm not giving you the green light to use it as you please, but it's gonna be like a tool in very certain conditions, and it will help. Okay, so in order to balance this out, I'd like to give you some statements Okay. You will see a mix of statements here. Some support the English-only environment or the English-only view. Other statements support the bilingual view. Let's make this interactive. In the chat, write barrier or bridge for each statement as I read it. Okay, so you write the word barrier if you feel it's a barrier. Bridge if you feel like it's helpful. And again, you will find some balance. It can be a barrier, to be honest, but it can also be a bridge. It's us who decide how to use it. I haven't provided the first the first statement yet. Okay. Wait for it. When teachers translate everything into L1, which is Arabic in our region. So I might use L1, I might use first language, I might use Arabic. So the three of them mean the same thing in this region, okay, the Middle East. So I might use L1 with Arabic like interchangeably, okay? Whatever term I use, it's like L1 or Arabic or first language. Okay, number one, when teachers translate everything into L1, Arabic in our case, students tend to tune out the English language and rely only on their mother tongue. Barrier or bridge? Do we have so many people believe in that? So are you for or against using Arabic in teaching English now? Now, after reading this. So I want you to be very honest. Okay. Okay. So let's go to statement number 2. Strategic use of L1 can lower anxiety and help learners analyze language more deeply. Bridge or barrier? Okay. Lovely. So do you believe it can do that? Using Arabic or using L1 can help students lower anxiety? If I have time, I'll tell you a story that happened to me in my first, let's say, first experience ever. Like on the first day inside the classroom, it happened. But maybe towards the end. Okay, excellent. Lowering anxiety. Lovely. Number 3, using L1 helps transfer academic skills and content knowledge efficiently to the target language, which is English. So using Arabic helps us transfer academic skills to English, to our students while learning English. Bridge or barrier? Okay, lovely, lovely. So do you believe that? Do you believe it? Do you believe it can happen? Like Arabic can transfer academic skills? Actually, it does. It does, but how? This is what we're going to talk about today. How it helps. How we can use it as a tool. Okay? It's not my opinion. It's a big research, like by different people. Okay? I wasn't convinced myself using Arabic might transfer academic skills, but it really does. If they exist in their first language, sometimes, Arabic students, even when they're reading in Arabic, they don't know how to read for gist. They read everything and they even if the task or the main purpose of reading is to get the main idea, you will find them holding their pens or pencils trying to read every word because the skill itself or the sub-skill itself doesn't exist in Arabic. That's why when they come to English, again, they don't read for gist. We need to develop it. But if it exists in Arabic, it will be transferable. Okay? Statement 4. Learners who always wait for L1 explanations can avoid the effort needed to process English. Bridge your barrier. Okay, Sarah. Yes. Mustafa. I agree. Abbas, Amal. Lovely. Okay. Absolutely. It can be a huge barrier if the teacher takes the easy route out, or the easy, the easy way. Like the teacher here is lazy and the students are lazy. That's that's actually possible. When the teacher gets everything explained in Arabic, they're not working much on learning the modern methodology which can develop the methodology in the classroom and the learning experience for the students. So they are just taking the easy route out. So it can be a barrier here. So please don't do that to yourself and to your students, because it can damage your reputation. That's the teacher who explains everything in Arabic. The exposure to English in his class is very minimal. Number 5, L1 use supports learners' linguistic identity and helps weaker learners who struggle in English-only environment. Bridge your barrier, because those students exist who struggle in the English-only environment. They're there. And my story is like, I hope I have time towards the end to tell you what happened to me. Absolutely. It is a bridge. So do you believe this one at least? Like we can use Arabic here because some students are struggling, and while they're struggling, there is somehow a block, maybe a mental block, because they're worried and they're struggling. They're not there with you. They're looking at you, but they cannot understand what you're saying. So they're struggling. Even the instructions, not only vocabulary here, they don't know what to do. Okay, so here it is a very important bridge. Lovely. Statement number 6, the more L1 you use in class, the less exposure students get to the English language they need to learn, or the English they need to learn. The target. Bridge your barrier. So if you look at the statements, you feel like, oh, what's this session about? Are you against using L1 in the classroom? Are we here to oppose the idea of the title of your session? No, we're not. But I'm telling you, if you're not using Arabic strategically in a very principled manner, it's gonna be a barrier, not a bridge. So today we're learning how to use it as a bridge. And I'll mention 4 cases. The 4th one, sometimes, it can be superior to the other 3. I'll talk about that. Okay, the final statement. L1 support facilitates cognitive growth in addition to English language proficiency. So it supports the cognitive growth when we support English with Arabic. And also it works on language proficiency. Bridge your barrier. Okay, do you believe in that or not? Do you believe it can facilitate cognitive growth? If you don't believe that, you don't have to agree with me, okay? I myself were against using L1 as a bridge. I felt like it's the easy way and the lazy teacher uses it. But that is not true, okay? Very smart teachers know how to use L1 in their classes. Okay, so excellent. What we can already see is that the answer isn't black or white. It's about how and when we use the first language. We use Arabic, L1, in our classes. How and when. And today we're going to look at both, how and when. Now, let's move into the theory behind why L1 helps. According to Cummins' interdependence principle, the scientist or the linguist is called Cummins, okay? His principle is called the interdependence. So Cummins' interdependence principle says that the skills and concept the learners build in Arabic do not stay isolated, or they build in L1. They do not stay isolated. They actually transfer to English. That's a research and a study. Okay, so they transfer. Learners naturally attempt to use their existing knowledge, L1, to process and acquire new information. And we can call this the schema theory. You know the word schema or schemata, your prior knowledge. So your prior knowledge of the topic in Arabic will help you process and acquire new information you get while you're learning English. And the learners' L1 and L2 lexical systems are somehow interconnected. The lexical systems, like the systems that store vocabulary, you know, your range in Arabic, your vocabulary range in Arabic, it differs from a person to another. My range in Arabic is not similar to my brother. It depends on so many things, but the overall system, the lexical system in my Arabic language is somehow interconnected, not separated at all. They're not into different blocks. Okay, they are interconnected somehow. Okay. Similarly, we have two linguists here, two scientists. You know, they investigated again. They investigated the area of L1, Kroll and Stewart. They came up with something called revised hierarchical model. Okay, hierarchical model. Like it's usually misspelled hierarchical. I think I misspelled it. No, it's correct. Okay. So it shows that especially at lower levels, L2 words, like the English language words in our case, are linked to their L1 equivalents, especially at lower levels. Once you give them even a picture, you know, it comes like, you know, it pops up in their heads as the Arabic word, okay? Especially lower levels. So Arabic becomes here, in this case, becomes a semantic bridge, a mental shortcut that supports memory and comprehension. So it's a shortcut at the lower levels of language, like A1 or A2. Like it's a mental shortcut, if we can say that supports memory and comprehension. If you look here, at the initial stage of learning, an L2 word is mapped onto its translation equivalent in L1. That's what happens in the brain. And learning L2 vocabulary through L1 translation is quite straightforward and more easily, and it more easily facilitates retrieval of a word meaning. So you can retrieve it when you need it. Yes, you might stutter a bit. That makes you think in Arabic, which is, you know, something we don't want to happen a lot. But at lower levels, we can allow it. But again, how? That's what I'm going to talk about very soon. So L1 acts as a crucial semantic bridge in L2 lexical processing, especially for learners who, you know, still struggling and they're not as proficient as, you know, learners at the B1 level or B1 plus, or, you know, at the B2 level. So it acts as a semantic bridge. Okay. So now, let's try a quick mental experiment. Okay. And you need to be 100% honest with me here, because some words you might, you might visualize the word. You might, connect it to an Arabic word. So in the chat, I just want you to state what happened, to tell me what happened, very, very honestly. Okay, no judgments here. So what happened? We are the teachers, right? So what happens in our own brains as teachers? Okay. So you either write, you visualize it, you translate it or connect it to an Arabic word or something else. You tell me in the chat box. Ready? Mountain. What happened in your brain? So you saw a mountain, right? Do you know why you saw a mountain? Because you know what it means. See? You know what it means. And that tells us we can use a picture to help our learners to see it. We don't need Arabic here, right? As long as you can provide them with a picture to help them understand or get the word or the meaning, even if they don't know the word itself, the picture will help them. So no need for Arabic. But this is just a mental experiment for us, because we will measure that, again, it's what happens to our students. Okay. Decision. What happened in your brain? In your brain? And be honest here. What actually happened? Did you translate it? Do you connect it to your first language? How did you visualize? How did you visualize decision? What did you see? How can you mime it? Decision is a very abstract word. If you know how to mime it, please let me know. Okay. Seriousness, like this is how you mime it? Will it trigger the word decision if you showed how serious you are? Okay. Honesty. What happened in your brain? So once you heard the word honesty, what happened? Okay, you see a monk. Okay. Relate to a story. Okay. Okay. Example. Goodness. Tale. Okay, Anas. لا, no problem. No problem if you translated that. I just wanted you to be honest. What happened once you heard the word? We're just proving their idea. Okay. A wolf in sheep's clothing. What happened in your brain? What did you see? Image. Okay. Lovely. Lovely. Okay. Visualized it. Politics. Okay. Table. What happened? Picture or the real item, right? Because we're surrounded with tables, something you can easily find around. Okay. Realia. So mountain, you cannot bring a mountain to the class. So you can use a picture, no need for Arabic. A table is something, again, concrete, tangible. And you can find, there is realia or realia for it. So no need for Arabic. Of course, you can find a picture for a table if you don't have a table in the class, which is highly unlikely. Somehow, you might not find a chair in some schools, but tables, I think there is some kind of a table somehow, or a desk. Okay. What about neighbor? What happened? Maybe you saw your neighbor, like your annoying one, especially. A person. You saw a person, right? Okay. Maybe some names popped up in your heads, right? Some people said translation. Okay, might happen. What about excitement? What happened in your head? Maybe you visualize some kids at Dream Park or something, right? Or playing. Joy. Okay, many colors. Amazing. My brain instantly. Elliot. Pictured a real mountain. Okay, real mountains. Okay. Thank you, Elliot. Okay. That's exactly what the theory predicts. Learners naturally use their first language, in our case, Arabic. They use Arabic schemas to process English input. Our job as teachers is to guide that process, not suppress it. So we need to guide it. If you suppress it, you're not helping your students. You need to guide the process. Remember that. It's going to happen. As long as we're teaching English as a second language or as a foreign language, their first language will intervene or interfere. Okay? So it's the process we need to guide. It's going to happen anyway, even if you are a teacher. Like, I'm not a native speaker. So when I heard the word gravitas for the first time, I used it anyway. I loved the word and I understood it from the context. So I'm able to do contextual guessing, and I teach this to my students, how to guess or how to use contextual clues from the text and understand the meaning of words without having to check the actual meaning in a dictionary all the time to become fluent readers or during listening and so on. But I love the word to the extent I needed to see the Arabic translation of the word gravitas. Who can put the Arabic translation in the chat box for gravitas? I loved the word, by the way. Who can give me the Arabic translation here? So let me show you how it's spelled. That's the spelling. So aren't you all curious to know what it means? So what's the direct and the fastest and the most straightforward way to help you with that? It's a noun. It's a noun. You know the word charisma? It's something like charisma. Like when people respect you so much because you have this kind of aura around you, you know? Maybe your smile is very nice, very decent, the tone of your voice. So yes, waqar. That's the exact translation. So instead of beating around the bush, trying to explain this word and the meaning might not get through to the students directly, you just use one of the techniques you are uncovering today to help them. And this is a C1 word. So can I use C1 in English language classrooms? Can I use Arabic with C1 students? Yes, I'm sorry. I know you might attack me for that. But yes, I myself, again, look at me. Yes, I understood that this word means charisma. It means like this person has something that makes everybody respect him. So I myself understood it. I'm honest, but there was an urge. I needed to see the Arabic meaning. Again, this mental connection, the bridge, I didn't feel comfortable. I am the teacher. And I heard it in I was watching a movie or a TV show, like Brooklyn Nine-Nine, something like that, if I remember right. So once I heard it, I felt, oh my God, I need to see what it means in Arabic. I understood it 100%, but I didn't feel comfortable until I, saw it in Arabic. I assume that I'm a C1 user of English based on my, marks and achievements. However, I didn't feel comfortable without actually guessing the word only. So let's move on to a practical strategy where we can use Arabic. We call it preview review. Okay. Our first practical strategy, we use Arabic before and after the lesson, but not at the same time while using English. So, and that helps a lot with very anxious students. Okay. The preview, like let's say the preview in Arabic builds background knowledge. The teaching phase entirely in English, then the review, Arabic might reinforce meaning and confirms understanding. Okay. So content is reviewed. It's going to be like a scaffold, some support. We can call it the dual language approach as well. The two languages are used separately, avoiding interchangeable random translation or concurrent translation. You're not explaining everything you're saying in English. You're not explaining it in Arabic. No. You use it before you start the clarification, the English clarification, and towards the end. Again, preview in Arabic, teaching phase entirely in English, review, Arabic reinforces meaning. Okay. So the preview, L1 Arabic use, a synopsis of the lesson or the content is presented in students L1 Arabic to build background knowledge, which is, we can call it schema building. Okay. The second step, review. No, sorry, it's not the second step. Preview is the first step, like a quick touch, as we're going to see a practical task, not just the strategy itself. We'll take an example. So preview, before you start the clarification in English, like a quick summary about like you're setting the context. If you're a CELTA certified teacher or a TEFL certified teacher, as if you're setting the context in Arabic. It can happen. Then phase 2, teaching in English only. The main lesson or the main content is taught only in English. Then finally, you review very quickly to reinforce, as we said. So let's take an example. And that will work for somebody like, the one who cried in my class when I started teaching. My first day in class, one of my students exploded hysterically in tears, because I was completely against using Arabic in the classroom. And the whole class, I had like 12 students or 14 students, A1 level, and they were actually pre-A1. Like they didn't know how the letters looked like, the alphabet. And I spoke in English only. So an introduction in Arabic to activate schema and build background knowledge. Imagine if I started by saying, if that was my lesson that day, لما تفكر في الأكل الصحي، إيه أول حاجة بتيجي في بالك? How reassuring is that? Do you think the panicky ones, oats, I think is not healthy. So the panicky ones, when they hear this small introduction, لما تفكر في الأكل الصحي، إيه أول حاجة بتيجي في بالك؟ بتحبوا الوجبات السريعة ولا الأكل الصحي؟ بس. How reassuring this is for somebody who doesn't know how the A letter looks like. A touch on that, you know, it will reassure them. Then stage 2 or phase 2, which is teaching, we agreed it's all in English. You can, you know, once we switch entirely to English, we teach the target vocabulary using pictures because pictures work. And again, as long as you can provide a picture for something or the real object, why do you need to use Arabic? Okay, so just we used Arabic here, it's a vocabulary lesson, but we didn't use it for the vocabulary itself. We used it to reassure the students and grab their attention and lower the affective filter. Krashen's hypothesis, okay? So they are not that worried. So they are open to learning now. They're not panicking. So I'm not gonna go through the whole thing, but again, I used pictures in the teaching phase. I didn't need to use Arabic at all. So I didn't say fruit, فاكهة. No, that didn't happen. Like I showed them a picture or I showed them a picture of different types of fruit and, you know, I asked them, what do you see? If somebody knows the word fruit, they will feel like, oh my God, I know something. I'm achieving something. I'm responding. I can speak English. So, but if I say fakha with the picture in my hand, I'm a lazy teacher and I'm making my students lazy. So try to elicit the word from the students using pictures if you can. But why did I use Arabic here in this strategy? Just to reassure a pre-A1 level or an A1 level or A2 level. And the topic is, you know, is easy, but they are panicking. So the third phase, you can just say اتكلمنا عن الأكل الصحي زي الفاكهة والخضار، الأكل مش صحي. كمان اتكلمنا إن المية مهم. Whatever. Okay? So what do you remember? فاكرين إيه؟ إيه الكلمات بالإنجليزي اللي أنتوا فاكرينها؟ Somebody might say burger, somebody might say fruit, banana, potatoes, you know, they will respond in English. So Arabic here is used to reassure them and to lower their anxiety and reduce the impact of the affective filter. Okay, so the key takeaways here, the two languages are used separately, not concurrently, not together. I'm not translating everything I'm saying. The Arabic preview activates schema. So pictures of food or fruit will come to their heads. So they are ready. Okay. Another strategy, which is, we can call it targeted L1 explanation technique. Direct translation, that's number one. Number two, we can do the, or we can apply the sandwich technique, L2, English, L1, Arabic, L2. So English, Arabic, English. Number three, clarifying subtle semantic, or sorry, maybe this is semantic differences. Okay, sorry for the typo. So let's look at number one, direct translation. Provide the L1 equivalent immediately when defining new words, especially when L2 only definitions are difficult to comprehend or integrate. So like the word gravitas. Okay, this is efficient for explaining challenging words or concepts that are very absolutely abstract, concepts that are absolutely abstract for the students, or very low frequency, or culturally distant. It doesn't exist in the culture. It doesn't exist in the Middle East, or it doesn't exist in the country you are teaching. Okay, it doesn't. Or that would take too long to explain using English only, monolingually. Look at that. Again, the word gravitas. I love this word because I remember the effect it had on me. culturally distant, like a bachelor party. So it doesn't exist in most Arabic countries. Nowadays, you know, the new generation, the Z generation, I expect them to do something like that because they're borrowing a lot of the Western culture. So it might exist in the, you know, next 10 years. But bachelor party, like when somebody is getting married, like the week before the wedding, they threw a party like to say goodbye to being single. Do we have that for boys in Egypt? I don't think so. So the word bachelor itself is confusing because they will think it's a qualification. Bachelor party, what comes to their heads would be like the party we throw when we graduate, for example, right? Do you agree with me or not? So it's confusing. So why beat around the bush when we can help them directly? And we do that like straightforwardly, right? What about something that is very low frequency? Hypotheses. What are you gonna do to explain this word? You might give a definition, you might give a context, and all that work. I agree with it. Lovely, fine, no problem. However, if you can save time for more practice towards the end of your class, it's going to be more effective. And you might, if you feel ashamed of using Arabic, you might ask. And that's one of the rare situations. I might ask the students about the meaning of something. I don't ask the students about the meaning. I provide the meaning. And I elicit the word. But if the word is too complicated, I'll have some hope that one of the students knows it in Arabic. Who knows it in Arabic? If you are yourself ashamed of using Arabic in the class, you can pull a student's leg to do it for you. But you don't need to be ashamed. So let's to you know tell you about the three. I told you that we're going to cover 4 occasions when we can use Arabic in the classroom. These are 3 of them. And the 4th occasion actually is superior to those 3. If it's there, we can forget about if it's abstract or not. We can forget about the culturally distant word. We can forget about the frequency. The 4th factor or occasion we need to use Arabic is when your students need to, like A1, and they're panicking, their psychological needs. So abstract words, culturally distant words, low frequency words, and the 4th one is not about words. It's about them. Okay? If they need it psychologically to stop them from the you know, to prevent the panic that is happening. Okay? So the sandwich technique, very quickly. Like it needs to be very principled. And it's like code switching. When you use L1, he felt relieved, مرتاح أو مطمن, relieved after the exam. So L1, L2, L1 again. Again, when the word is very low frequency or culturally distant or absolutely abstract. Okay, you can use the sandwich technique or the code switching. She's proud, فخورة, proud of her son. See? They're arguing. بيتجادلوا, arguing again. Seems like they are not happy. So clarifying subtle semantic differences. Use L1 to clarify the blurred semantic boundaries between a target word and its synonym or synonyms or related words. Arabic can serve as a precision tool, helping learners distinguish fine shades of meaning, okay? Not just basic translation. So remember and remind, Arabic can help here, or L1 can help here. House and home. Like when I was young, I didn't know the difference. See, house is the building, the structure. You know, home is the place you feel comfortable with your family, with, okay, and so on. This one, I'm going to do this one very quickly. It's another example of mixing L1, L2, L1. And you can actually, direct translation is also apparent here. It exists here. And it helps show the students that make and do can have so many other meanings in Arabic, like اتخاذ, عمل, إحراز, ارتكاب, القيام, إعداد, تقديم, أداء. This is just make or do. So you can vary this task. You can start by helping with the collocation itself, or you can start by providing them with the collocation. It depends on your student's level. You can play with that the way you want. Okay, there is no, that's just an example for you to get back to if you want to take a picture. Okay. To say take, both work, take and make. Some books say take is wrong. Like I remember teaching face-to-face, the intermediate book, take, you know, was advised against. Okay. So in the previous task, it helped with, you know, it activated existing L1 knowledge, the interdependence principle. So different strategies were applied in the previous task. Created a semantic bridge between L1 and L2, revised hierarchical model, reduced anxiety and deepens analysis. The affective filter, the students are not as anxious as they should be when they see like make and do, they can, you know, make that much difference. And build collocational awareness, okay? Cross-linguistic, you know, comparisons. So here, I think when you hear the word fabrica, you know, that comes to our students' heads because they saw it in so many ads. عربية fabrica. It doesn't mean new, or doesn't mean no scratches. It means قماش. And the word library is a confusing word because in Arabic, where we buy books, it's called maktaba. Okay, where we buy, where we go and read, it's called maktaba. So we need to highlight that. Arabic can help here. Sensible, again, another confusing word, confused with sensitive. Nervous is the most famous one because they think it's متنرفز. That's why you need to eliminate this confusion. Okay, it means angry, عصبي. No, but the real meaning is worried, anxious. Okay, so a false friend or a cognate. So by comparing the words in their English lookalikes to their lookalikes, learners activate their what we call bilingual mental lexicon and identify where meanings overlap or diverge. As for L2 vocabulary, like, again, as we agreed, we can access L2 through L1. But again, let me remind you, abstract, culturally distant, low frequency, psychological needs. Other than that, I don't think Arabic is a good idea when teaching vocabulary. So using Arabic strategically makes semantic boundaries visible, turning potential misunderstanding into a learning opportunity. Okay? So the final I'm sorry, I'm taking much from the, I'm finishing after this one to give you time for questions. This is the original text, and we have like the word chance, certain, attitude, coping with. I'm assuming this is lower intermediate level, a lower intermediate level, and I thought that these words are, you know, low frequency for them, or because this might happen in one class. You use Arabic for the same lesson in one class, and in another class, you decide that it is not needed. So you are in the field, you are, you know, with your students. You can decide on the spot or while planning for your lesson. So that's the first variation. The instructions might be, look at read the sentences or read the paragraph and match. Okay. The bold words to the Arabic equivalent.
Thank you so much, Mohammed. This was super informative. However, unfortunately, we are running out of time, so we'd like to take some questions. We have a lot of questions for you. We'll try to cover some of them.
Okay.
I know you're not done yet. However, you have like quite the audience now. So a couple of questions for you from our audience. Here's our first one. A question, does the RH aim apply equally to all learners, or does it depend on age, proficiency level, or learning context?
Again, I can talk about the proficiency level only. You know, if they are not proficient enough, if they are still at A1, I think we are more allowed. Again, let's say I'm not giving you the green light to use Arabic whenever you want, but it's more of a permission whenever they need. It's not about you and what you want to do. It's about them. If they are A1 or A2 and they need that, if they are C1 and you feel like they need it, it's like urgent for them. In these situations, when it's like a low frequency word or absolutely abstract or culturally distant, doesn't exist in our culture, you can go ahead. So all the factors involved, but you know, I'll give priority to the level.
Thank you. Do you mind switching off your screen share so they can see you on a bigger screen? Another question for you. Do the teaching strategies, I mean the direct methods and the communicative approach, really tolerate the use of L1 in ESL or ESL classroom? What are the implications of L1 on the process of teaching and learning?
Again, it can hinder learning if you're not using it strategically in a principled manner. But if you go back to the CELTA booklet, you find strategic use of L1 is allowed. Strategic use. So CELTA is all about, you know, the communicative approach and modern methodology. And Cambridge allowed it like very, very strategically. And again, remember the 4 factors when it comes to vocabulary. And the 4th factor, or the 4th occasion, works with everything, not only vocabulary, but the first 3, let me repeat them. I know that I gave you a headache about that. So the first one is low frequency. The word is very low frequency, or absolutely abstract, or it doesn't exist in your culture. Again, not haphazardly. Otherwise, you know, you are minimizing the use of English because you just use Arabic. They use Arabic outside the classroom. They use their L1 all the time. So please use Arabic very, very strategically when it comes to vocabulary.
Thank you. Another question is, when students know I will use L1 at the end, students will wait for the explanation in L1 once they get used to me using it, and they won't focus, will they?
They wouldn't get used to it if you apply the techniques. You can use, if you feel like when you use L1, L2, L1 sandwich, they got used to that, please avoid it. And again, if you're going to use Arabic as a shortcut for you as a teacher, they will get used to it. And they might love your class more than the other teachers, but the overall outcome will not be in your favor. So please don't make them over dependent on the idea you translate all the time. because we have other options. We have definitions. If you can use a definition that is simpler than the word, like the wording of the definition must be simpler than the word you are defining. You can use pictures, you can use realia or realia, you can use an example or a context. You can mime if it works. There are other ways to help your students get the word, or get you can deliver the meaning in different ways. If you just use Arabic as you please, you're not an effective teacher. The three occasions again.
Now we have a question that's very common because we have a lot of teachers in the MENA region who are not originally Arab. So the question is, if the teacher is not a native speaker of L1, how can we handle the situation, especially when native speakers are almost using L1 for concurrent translation?
It will be very difficult for the teacher. Let's be like realistic. If the teacher doesn't know, if we have like a Chinese teacher in an international school in Egypt, the teacher doesn't know what they're saying, but at least they can start working a little bit, on their Arabic, because they live here. The teacher might need to, if they're living for this country for some time, they can at least look at the target language they're teaching. It doesn't have to be like you learn Arabic, to get like to the C1 level in Arabic, but you can just at least look at the target language, and AI and Google will help you. If you're teaching them these 10 words today, you might need to look at the Arabic equivalent just in case.
A couple of more questions. I hope I'm not. Well, can we use a preview strategy in international schools?
That depends on the school's policy. We cannot go against like the coordinator or the overall manual of the school, but we can discuss that with them, like if there is a need, especially in the early stages, like KG or primary 1 maybe, because if Cambridge says it is possible when it's used strategically, why not the manager allows it? See?
Thank you. Also, teaching is based on planning. Why don't we use flipped learning instead of explaining in Arabic or in L1?
So who said that flipped learning is forbidden? That's using L1. This question makes me feel like I'm saying it's a must to use L1. It is not. I'm just asking you to give yourself a little bit of freedom. Like, the session is just giving you a permission if you need it. But if you find that flipped learning works for your students more than using L1 in the same scenarios, go ahead. But again, today, I'm just giving you an extra tool or an extra weapon to your arsenal. Is not a must you use it. I'm just, we're trying to discuss it together. If you feel like it's gonna save time for your students to practice more instead of, having to explain much in order to deliver a specific shade of meaning, Arabic is gonna do it very, very quickly. Again, if it's like, if it doesn't exist, if it's abstract, if it's low frequency, go ahead. If you can do that using English, why use Arabic? I'm just look at the bigger picture, which is gonna be more effective for your students. You have all the techniques now. Okay, so whatever suits you and suits your student, and let's put the students first. Go ahead with it.
Thank you, Mohammed. It is sad that our time is up. Thank you so much, Mohammed, and thank you, our moderators, Rania on Zoom and on.
And they're asking about the certificates.
Oh yes, they're answering them about the certificate. Also, Dua, Mel, and Joanna. Thank you so much, and thank you a lot to those who joined over the 2 days of the MENA online conference. Hope you found the session useful, and thank you to our presenter once again.
Thank you, and sorry for taking that much time. Thank you.
We enjoyed it.
So you can scan the code and join the network in order to know about upcoming events. Scan it with your phones. I think that will get them the link.
It will allow them to join our very vibrant MENA page, where we connect together as teachers and grow and learn together. It's a lot of fun.
Thank you very much
also,
for inviting me, and I'd like to thank the attendees for their patience. I hope it was worth your while. Thank you.
I'm sure it was.